Hi, everybody. Sam here. I'm so excited to be here with my insurance guy, Jason Binyon. We got connected several years ago. It's hard to believe. I was going to look before we got on here, Jason, but I think it's been 4 or 5 years ago now that
Yeah.
you hired us to help you with one project on Facebook, and then we actually were able then to continue helping you with some other things, and we've just been continuing to do this dance for the last few years. And it's really great to be part of your team. And so
Yeah.
whenever somebody asks me about insurance, I'm like, I know a guy.
I know a guy.
I know a guy.
We came up
And
with that together. Yeah.
yeah, we did, I think. And so it's pretty cool. So Jason, tell everybody just a little bit about who you are, how you help in the world. I know everybody, like, when you think about insurance, a lot of people are like, oh, but you can
Yeah.
actually make it fun and you can understand really how important it is. So just tell us a little bit about you first, though.
Yeah. So Jason Binyon, Farmers Insurance, Binyon Agency here in Frisco, Texas. We've been here for coming up on 5 years now. So you were with us from the very beginning. Um, we are primarily home auto umbrella people, but we do commercial, we do life, we kind of do it. We do pet insurance now. So we insure electronics and all different kinds of funny things. I get a new question every day on, hey, can you do this? Can you do this? So we just keep expanding. And we've got me and four others on the team right now. Three are here. One is semi-remote. And, we try to grow as best we can, but say also focused on what we're good at. Because I think not just in insurance, but everywhere you can get a little unfocused and chase a lot of things and find out, hey, that's probably not in their best interest and maybe not in ours either. So we just try to, I think now that we've matured a little bit in insurance, they say that 5 years is that kind of that mark. We've kind of found where we're really good and where we're not so great. And we try to just stay in that lane.
So what are you really good at?
I think we are really good at personal lines insurance, home auto umbrella, and I think we're really good at small commercial. Um, when I say small commercial, um, the ones you'd see in a retail shopping center, the ones that maybe work out of their home, like you guys, Sam, the ones that that they're incorporated, but they don't have 500 employees and they're all kind of centrally located. I think of them as the mom and pop businesses around town, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. The auto shop, the barber shop, the lawyer, the accountant, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So that's what we spend most of our time with. You know.
And so if I'm listening or if I'm talking to someone and they're saying something, what should I be listening for to say, oh, they might actually be interested in talking to you, right? What
Yeah.
things should I be listening for?
Well, I think one of the biggest things people should be listening for is, hey, I haven't talked to my insurance guy and I don't even know his name. I think that's the key. You said that insurance can be, insurance is kind of like going to the dentist. It's
Hmm.
maybe not the funnest thing to do in the world, but you absolutely needed to go do it. And when you're done with it, it feels better and things go on. And jokes aside, um, just like with your teeth, if you don't take care of your insurance and understand what you've got going on, it can put you in real jeopardy. It could
Yeah.
really throw the wheels off your life roller coaster. And I've watched it over and over and over again where some little thing happens and they thought they had something and they didn't. And it's this deal that just hangs over them. It's a bill that they have to pay for years and years and years. And it can be catastrophic. It's not always that way. Sometimes it's just annoying,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know.
so an example, can you give us something like with a homeowner's policy, somebody thinks they have one coverage and then they don't, and what that might look like?
Well, I can tell you that let's say that we're at home and our HVAC starts leaking and it leaks down the walls and it's now starting to come into the kitchen and it's just causing a real mess. The question is do I have water coverage for that? And how much is it going to be to repair this? Is it worth calling the insurance company? Because if I don't know the answers to that, you could call the insurance company and you could be filing a claim that may not be necessary. And those kind of claims are actually worse than filing a real claim. They're called $0 payouts. So what we ask is people, hey, call somebody in insurance and say, hey, I've got this thing going on. Do you think it's worth me making a claim? we think it could be, let's figure out how we need to walk through this together. So I think that people just need to be aware of, I think the most important thing is who am I going to call on the day something happens?
Yeah.
And
And so
I,
instead of calling to file a claim right away or even think you're just getting information, but they're actually starting a claim, have somebody that you know personally that you can call, like I would call you,
right.
then who are you going to call? That's so good.
Yeah. I mean, a 5 minute phone call to say, hey, I've got this going on. What do you think? And we can ask a couple of questions and we can just direct traffic. You know, if it's an emergency, start getting it fixed now. I mean, that's number one. If you know, if you've got a hole in your roof, you need to patch the roof and then figure out what's going to happen. Um, but definitely call somebody you know. And if you don't, you can probably call a local agent in your area and they'll be probably happy to answer a question for you.
Yeah. And so knowing that this podcast is going to be all over, not just in Texas,
Mhm.
are you able to help people if they find you and they actually check you out and they're like, oh, yeah, Jason has the vibe that I like and I
Yeah.
want to know a guy? Like, can you help people outside of Texas?
We actually are only licensed in Texas, so we'll help people in Texas. But the cool thing about being in this for a little bit now, I've always found it good to know people in other markets. So we just have
Mm,
connections. So if you're in a town, we probably know somebody that knows somebody that can get you to somebody that will help. And you
yeah.
won't have to just be walking in cold like, oh, you know, you'll have a little bit of a feel for who they are before you get there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so good. All right. So you talked about personal lines, small commercial. We talked about homeowners. I know that we were talking about homeowners the other day and how it seems like when somebody's buying a home, they have to have it, right? And so
Yep.
it's one of those things that you just like, oh my gosh, I have to do that too. Um, do you have a suggestion for people when they're getting their homeowners, what to actually look for in a policy?
Yeah, I think so. Homeowners policies are pretty straightforward in their standard format, meaning that, hey, what should I know? You should say, okay, if my house was to be burned to the ground, how much do I think it's going to cost me to get everything put back the way it was before it happened? Well, an insurance agent will help you get a good estimate about that, but having a general knowledge of what that might be, maybe even the stuff on the inside of your house. If I took everything out of my house and dumped it out in the street, how much would I have to go and go all over town and buy and replace all my clothes and jewelry and furniture and stuff? How much would that cost me? You know, so having a general idea of your personal property is a good thing. And then just having common awareness around, at least in Texas, what deductibles mean, how are they
Mm,
calculated, and what do the dollars actually mean? Like asking the questions, let's pretend I have a water claim. How many dollars out of my pocket am I going to have to write in order to make this claim start moving forward? You know, because deductibles, let's say for wind and hail today are 2%. Well, if you have a $500,000 home, a 2% deductible is actually $10,000. So if you have a hail claim on your roof and you have a $500,000 house and you want to get a new roof, they're going to give you the roof, but they're only going to pay for everything less the $10,000 that you owe them.
yeah.
And it gets a little more complex than that. But I think knowing how many dollars out of my checking account am I going to have to write on claims day to make this thing right?
Okay.
Because it can be shocking, you know. Not everybody has just a whole, you know, $10,000 to go get a new roof, right?
Yeah.
But
No.
it's better
Yeah.
than buying the whole $30,000 roof, right?
Agreed. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it
For
still
sure.
doesn't feel good, but it's just better, you know.
Yeah. For sure. Understand what I hear though is understanding what you're going to be responsible for if something happens.
Yeah, I would just play the scenario. If my house burned down, what would happen? You know, if I had a water claim, what would happen? Those kinds of things. Um,
Yeah.
More importantly, I think if I don't know any of these things, who am I going to call? Really
Yeah.
is
You need
important.
a guy.
Yeah, I think everybody needs a guy or gal.
Everybody or a gal.
I mean, that's interchangeable to me, guy or gal. That's a given. So
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure. All
yeah,
right, so let's talk a little bit about what we do here on the podcast, Retention
mhm,
Made Simple. We
yep,
talk about ways that small business owners, entrepreneurs, founders can make their business better and stronger by keeping their best clients longer and getting more referrals. And one of the things that I've been really happy about with working with you as helping you on the back end side of some of this stuff has been seeing how you're intentionally trying to do some of that. Like
right,
some of our clients, it's more of a harder pull, right? But at the
Right.
holidays or somebody, you have something coming up and you want us to send something. So you have a heart of appreciation and kindness
Right.
already. So I see that in you. Um, and so I'm just curious, knowing you've been in business for 5 years, what are some of the things that you've done for client retention? Or the other thing that a lot of people don't consider is sometimes it's not the client retention is important, but also how you treat your referral partners. Because I know you do some networking and you have some things. And so your retention made simple stuff works for your referral partners too. If you're getting a bunch of people that refer you, how you take care of them will either continue that relationship or not.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts around client retention?
Well, I think it's super important. I think that as a small business person, for me, I think all of us look at our small businesses and we see like all these 45 plates and they're all spinning at once and we're watching which ones are wobbling and we're trying to get it spinning again. And a lot of times I think retention and thoughts about, how to have that personal touch can sometimes get lost because you're so busy surviving,
Mm,
and while you're trying to survive and pick up new business, some of your old business, some of those plates start falling off because you know things change, and if they haven't heard from you, um, and it's not that you didn't care about them, it wasn't really
right.
even intentional, but I think retention in all of business, small businesses especially, but really anywhere, to to be intentional about how am I going to keep these people um, close to me, and a lot of times they're friends,
Yeah.
or people we know or we've gotten to know
Yeah,
or
they
whatever.
become friends. Yes.
Yeah, like you and I. I mean, we became
Yeah.
friends out of referrals, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we just happened upon, and now we're friends. So, um, but I think you have to be intentional. But I think you have to be more than intentional. I think you have to ask for help if you
Mhm.
don't have time as the owner to do it. So if you're doing 75 other things and that's one of the plates spinning, it's probably important enough to ask for help for somebody to come in and help you with it.
Yeah.
Um, and then secondarily, I think you need to have a system. Like I think you need a standard operating procedure around, okay, when this person comes in and we sign them up, they're going to go into whatever that system is, whether it's manual, whether it's, the newest versions of whatever technology is out there. I mean,
Yeah.
manual works just as good as long as you're committed to it, but some of the new things can help. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
But you have to be intentional. You have to want to. You have to be willing, and then you have to have a procedure, because if you don't, I found by my experience, I can't speak for everybody. If I don't have a procedure in place, it'll break down, and I
Mhm.
won't mean it to break down, but I'll get busy.
Yeah.
And if I have it mapped out, it's so good to be able to open something up and go, you know what? Let's go back to everybody and say we need to start again and go back to our procedure again. And every time we do this, let's just go through that process. And
Mhm.
and
That's so for those of you watching, we didn't plan this. I just told them we were going to talk about retention. But you said the two things that I believe are most important,
right,
and it's intentionality and having a system.
right,
Because if you don't have a system, it's just not going to happen. And like you said, it's not that you don't care. It's that if you don't have a system, it's just not going to get done.
right,
And the way I teach, it truly can be done with a Google sheet and a calendar, right?
yeah,
So you don't have to use the tech. Sometimes the tech makes it better, but for some people, the tech isn't their friend and they just don't like the tech.
yeah.
So they don't have to use it.
I've
Um,
also seen tech make it worse.
yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, so I'm
Yeah.
sure you talked about that, but yeah,
Yeah, it can make it worse if you don't know what you're doing or a system glitches, and they send out a bunch of stuff that it wasn't supposed to send out. But
right,
then also humans glitch. We had a
yeah,
program, one of our clients, we send out business anniversary books for her clients every year on their business anniversary. She picks a different book to send them saying, hey, happy anniversary, right? And we accidentally sent the book to one of her clients right now that wasn't supposed to get it for like 2 more months.
right.
And so humans glitch too,
Oh
right?
yeah,
So it's just a matter of what's what. But knowing what you want to do, knowing your heart of being intentional, it really does matter. And I think that what people don't realize is like what you were talking about earlier, about how you get new clients and you have all the other things going on, then the other clients haven't heard from you in a while. That happens across the board. The way I like to explain that is the top of the funnel, like everybody
Hmm.
in business knows the
Right.
funnel. And you have the top of the funnel, the middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel. When something comes out at the bottom of the funnel, you're like, oh, I got one.
Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah.
Yay. And then you love on them, right?
Yeah.
And the old cartoon, like I'm going to love him and squeeze him and hold him and make him my very own. I'm going to call him George,
Right.
right? And then you have another one come in and another one. And by the time you've got 5 or 6 new clients and baby George number one that hadn't heard from you.
Right.
And it's not on purpose. It's busy. So, um, yeah. So you said everything that I say. So we're
Right.
definitely in sync on that.
Yeah. And I know that when I was first starting out and I wanted to be like that, I was really passionate about it and I got busy. And um, honestly, I think that was one of the first things you were helping us with was, you know, so this may sound stereotypical, but I'm a guy. And I've always had people in my life that I've always had the like really cool ideas. Like I want to stay really close to these people. I really like them. I mean, I like having them in my life. And I've always had people around me to go, and typically it's been female, but it doesn't have to be. But they've always been the ones that are like, oh, well, this is really cool. You want to send this? And I'm like, oh, yeah. And so, like, I could spend all this time thinking about the things I would want to send.
Yeah.
And I think that's um, probably the biggest connection point with me to you was the thoughtfulness of the things that are sent, right?
Okay.
Because that's
Yeah.
kind of gaming up, in my opinion. That's like, okay, I'm willing and I'm intentional, and now I have a system. Okay, now what can we send that is really meaningful?
It's
You
not
know,
just a
it's not just
$10 Starbucks gift card.
it's not just a magnet. If it's a magnet, it's a really cool one-off magnet, but it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a journal or whatever it might be,
I got to
something.
tell you that when I was up at your office a couple months ago and you still had the journal that I
Yeah,
gave you on your desk, I was like, oh my gosh,
I
because
love
that's
it.
been like 3 years ago.
I know I don't write in it as much because I keep paper in there to write with, but I do write
Uh,
in it from time to time, only special notes, and I just carry it around because it's really the right size. It's got my name on it. It actually holds spots for me when I'm at an event or something. If I want to
that's
hold
so
a spot
funny.
somewhere, I just put it there, and I know it's going to be there when I get back. I mean, who's going to steal it with my name on it?
So
Um,
funny. Well, you made a comment though about how you don't normally know what to get, but I at Christmas this year you sent me something, and I this was so wrong, but I messaged you. I'm like, did you pick this or did Gina pick it? And it was you.
yeah,
You did good. You
yeah,
can do it. You can
yeah.
do
That's
it.
funny. You can. Um, but a lot of times I get stumped on that stuff too,
Yeah.
and
And you got to remember when you're giving something, especially for pure gratitude, swag is different. There's a
yeah,
whole different ballpark for swag and there's a whole different use case. And I like swag, but if you're truly giving a gift, you have to remember it's about them, not you.
right.
It's always about them. So
Yeah, I almost think
sometimes having
marketing and
your name
retention
on
are
it,
kind of different, don't you?
say that again.
I almost think marketing and retention are almost different. They're
What? Yes,
similar,
yes.
but
They
different.
kind of they run parallel,
Right,
but they're not the same for
right,
sure.
right.
And so sometimes if you're gonna, I have a great example. My client, Coach Dale, I use this example a lot. He for admin day several years ago, he got me 5 or 6 of these pens. They're purple and they're sparkly,
Yeah,
and it doesn't say Coach Dale on it. It says your admin ninja,
right,
right? It's my name, not his name. And
right,
but every time I see it and every time I use it, I think of him,
right,
right? Just like the journal that I gave you. Every time you see it, you know I gave it to you,
right,
even though it doesn't have my name on it. Every time I use the candle, I used the candle the other day. That was so cool. And the journal about like what
right,
I mean, it's great. So every time I see those things, I think of you.
right,
That's what you want to do. That's what builds in the loyalty so that when somebody says, I need insurance, you're like, I know a guy.
right.
I know a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so good. So is there anything that you've done, like maybe from a point of view of you're like, oh, I tried that and it really worked, or something you're like, I thought that would work and it didn't? Yeah, I don't know. That's if you don't have an
Yeah.
answer, that's okay.
Um, what's interesting is not as much as retention, but from a swag perspective, um, those tumblers that
Oh
you
yeah,
did for us were really, really, really popular for whatever reason.
yeah.
Um, so from a swag wise, we've had some hits. From a gift wise, what was a big hit this year was the tea.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, the tea. And what's interesting is, you don't obviously I'm a little sensitive to this, but that doesn't matter here. But just about everybody drinks tea. And even if they don't drink like Earl Grey or something special, that cinnamon tea, that got a lot of rave reviews because
It's so good.
it's
It's
almost
my
like candy in a cup, so you don't have to send alcohol, right?
yeah,
Because you don't know. You might be sending something to someone that's like, look, that's something I don't do or whatever. But I
yeah.
mean, even if they don't love tea, they're allowed to like smell it. And then somebody they could say, try
Or
this.
she'll
They'd
have
be like,
someone come over and they'll have
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the Harney and Sons, that is so good. It's been one of my favorites. I actually came across that probably I was working at Documation at the time, and that would have been like 2010, 2009.
Hmm.
And that's when I came across it. And my boss at the time, he walked by my desk and he saw me enjoying the tea. And I said, it just makes me happy. And he's like, he said, add it to every supply order so you're never out of it.
Right. That's
Right. And
hilarious.
so I've been drinking it and giving it as gifts ever since because
Yeah.
everybody loves it.
So that was a big one. You know, Inbound wise, your journal to me was a big one. I think journals, I think books, obviously the right book for the right person. Man, that's challenging though, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, unless you really, really find something that for sure will be a hit. And a lot of people, I might be one of those people included in that. Um, I'm not a huge reader, so I can give
Yeah.
out hundreds of books to other people, and they're going to like, "What did you think about it?" And be like, "Oh, it was great."
Yeah. Well, so that's one of the things. So on the onboard one, I teach 3 steps for retention made simple. One of them
Mhm.
is appropriate onboarding or effective onboarding,
Right,
appropriate appreciation, and then asking for feedback. And when you onboard, one of the things you can do is ask them, do you prefer to read or audio or Kindle? And so I know you prefer Audible. So
right,
when I send you something, I send it to you on Audible,
right.
right? And then we can make fun of the guy's voice. We won't say who it was because you're, yeah, right. And so, but I
Right,
know you listened to it and you would have probably never opened the book. So
right.
you have to make it about them, not about you.
Yeah.
Right?
And you taught me this. I think that one of the things in onboarding your customers, like you just mentioned, was having that little questionnaire to say, hey, and if they don't want to fill it out, you could even call them, hey, you got 3 minutes? And they're going to go, why? And you go,
Mhm.
I'm just going to ask you some questions, some one offs. You don't even have to think about it. You just have to answer. And then you know what? You don't talk about it for a little while 3 months, 6 months,
Yeah.
whatever, a year later. And then you give them, like a, snickerdoodle flavored Twix and they're like, how would they have ever known that?
Right.
And it's those things,
Yeah, and I also like asking what a favorite local nonprofit is,
right?
because for a lot of the people that we work with, at least, um, they have everything they need, everything they want,
Right,
right? And so to do something and actually do like a $50 donation and you've done that for me in the past for one of
right,
the nonprofits that I support. Instead of sending me something, you
right,
sent something to them. And so it's just about gathering the right information. And like you said, a form is good, it's efficient, but some people aren't going to do it. So as you're talking to them over the relationship, you actually gather in some of these things. And I was talking to Coach Dale, a couple months ago about this. And he and I were, the discussion we were having is that when you get somebody as a client and they're more of a one off, they just do one project, you're not, you don't have to become invested in them. You don't
Right.
have to build the relationship with them, right?
Right.
And so I think, unfortunately, that's where a lot of people are now in business, that they want the one-off. They don't want to do the work to have the relationship. But I promise you, the quality of work and the ability for me to help you from a business point of view is very different today than it was 5 years ago when we started,
Right.
because of the relationship and me truly being bought in on what you're trying to do and helping you. So the relationships are everything.
Yeah. And you know, to Coach Dale's point, even if it's a one-off, I still believe that the appropriate thank you at the end of the project and all that could go a long way. I mean, they'll remember that, and if somebody else has a project that needs to be done and it's not theirs, they'll probably go, you know what? Hold on. I know
Yep.
somebody that really goes a bit above and beyond what is normal, right?
Yeah.
So
Agreed for sure.
yeah,
Well, this is so good. Well, I know that you're in it for the long haul with helping people with their insurance.
we're too far from shore to go back now.
And I totally I trust you. I know that if anybody I know has an insurance question or needs something, that I would without a doubt refer them to you. And I haven't ever really been able to, well, that's not true. There's one guy that I knew, and I say that because I'm still connected to him and he may
Right.
actually see this. He'd be like, what about me?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, there was one. But currently, you are my insurance guy. And having somebody in your corner that you can trust means everything. So
right.
thank you for that.
Well, thank you for all you do for us, and you've been an immense help. You, all your team, you talking about retention and what you're doing is super important. And I would say there's so many small business owners out there that have these little projects that are just things they want to do that can't do, that should always think of you. And if they need reference, they are absolutely um, they can call me. I mean, I'll give them I give people real reviews about the goods and the bads sometime, you know. Even
Yeah.
on if someone was to give some stuff about us, I would expect that they would give a true analysis of what they've seen and experienced. So yeah, you know, it doesn't matter how techie we all get, eventually somebody's going to want to talk to somebody.
Yeah, we are humans. That's what I
Yeah.
say. If we could just treat each other as if we're humans, because we are,
Right.
then the world would be a different place.
Yeah.
So, any closing thoughts? Anything you wish I would have asked you that I didn't, or anything you'd like to share? So, if somebody if they're popping in right now and this is the only thing they hear from you, is there anything you'd like to say?
No, I mean, I think from a business sense, I think as a small business owner, I think retention is a massive deal. It can prove out to the longevity of your company, and honestly, it just makes it more fun. I mean, it
Yes.
does. When you're doing business with people that like you and you like them, life's just more fun, you know. And from an insurance perspective, I would say it doesn't really matter what you decide to do with your insurance. It probably matters who you're talking to. You can put yourself in a competitive advantage by knowing a person that can guide you through the process. You wouldn't you wouldn't do your own dental work on yourself, you know. And this is kind of the similar kind of deal. You know, we don't really cost anything to anybody. It doesn't. You're not going to get any better price online. That's a
That's a
myth.
mic drop right there.
That's a myth.
Insurance myth 101. You're going to save money by going online.
That is not true.
Yeah, and then who are you going to call when you have a problem? That's the issue.
Yeah, buy day is one thing. Claims day is the day you really want to have somebody on your side, you know?
Yeah, for
So,
sure. Well, thank
yeah.
you very much, Jason. It's good to
Yeah.
see you.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.